Hey, welcome to Geek Speak. I'm Trace,
I'm Rob.
and today we're going to talk about Wizard Magazine. And this is going to be the second in our magazine series. The first one was Starlog. And we're going to dedicate this one, of course, to the late cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube channel and to Ed Piskor. And I also want to dedicate to our little brother Matthew.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because the last magazine series one we did on Starlog, he posted and said it was the worst video we'd ever done. And I told him we were going to try to top ourselves this time.
Right. All right.
But anyway, to give you a little bit about Wizard Magazine, it came out in 1991. It really pushed some new publishers that were out at the time, Valiant Comics, which has tried to make a couple of comebacks since then, and Image Comics, which is still kicking, and they really heavily promoted their new releases. It was real high-end production. I mean, when you look at that book, I mean, the way it's bound and everything, it was done well. And Wizard Magazine is probably the geek magazine. It come out right at the peak when comic books was really, really popular, and it capitalized on that. It was an instant hit, and it had a monthly circulation of over 100,000 copies. And of course, the magazine's success led to Wizard Entertainment launching a few other magazines that had geeky interest as well, like Inquest Gamer, which was about collectible card games. I passed on that one. What about you?
Yeah, I never was into that.
And then Toy Fair magazine, which had a few of those, and we'll cover that sometime in the future, which covered obviously toys and action figures, and Anime Insider for anime and manga. But in 2006, Wizard was revamped. It got a bigger look and more pages, and it got rid of this bound edition, and it was stapled, looked more like a traditional magazine. And after issue 200, Wizard made several changes, and it seemed to focus on, instead of reviews and humor, it switched to like information and just basically talking about upcoming comics. And you'll see a whole lot of that in this issue as well. In 2009, unfortunately, Wizard laid off 10% of its workforce, including 3 staff writers, and Wizard was relaunched with issue 228, which featured Mark Millar as a guest editor.
Mark Millar.
Mark Millar, Mark Millar, Mark Millar. The magazine returned to its strictly comic book roots, but it wasn't enough. Despite the changes, the magazine lost subscribers and become unsustainable at some point, like all magazines have. So nothing against Wizard. In 2010, they went from over 100,000 subscribers selling copies to 17,000. And in 2011, that was the last nail in the coffin, so they ceased publication on not only Wizard Magazine, but all their sister magazines as well.
Mm.
So, but yeah, Wizard Magazine was a big deal for me back in the day. I mean, that's how you got your comic book knowledge.
Well, what bothered me, the only thing that was a concern with it, as far as I loved Wizard back in the day, was how it was really hard for the average Joe to get like an Overstreet comic book price guide.
Yeah.
And in the back of each one of these, there was a small price guide, which
Yes.
kind of gave you like a monthly kind of update on what the most expensive comic books were.
Absolutely. And comic book retailers will look at that. I mean, you go to a comic book shop, you go to check a price, they either look at Overstreet guide, like you mentioned, or they would talk about Wizard Magazine. And this particular magazine come out, it's issue 83. It come out in July of 1998.
98. How old was you in 98?
A lot younger than I am now. So, do you recognize this artist?
No.
Adam Hughes. Yeah, and I mean, so can you recognize these characters? You know that one?
Yeah, that's Witchblade.
Yeah, you got it.
Supergirl, Rogue, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. This is a hard one.
She was part of Image's comics, and I want to say she's Gen 13.
She's part of Gen 13. I can't remember her name either.
Okay, of course, Sue Richards.
Yeah, right.
Catwoman, and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. And he's a fantastic artist.
And the thing about Wizard is I noticed they really was pushing the Gen 13 image.
Yeah.
More so than, I mean, I know that these characters, they were kind of like new. And to have something new back then was like pretty damn cool.
That, and you know, and I don't know if they were tied in with Image somehow. Certainly Image paid for a lot of advertising, which you'll see inside the comic. I mean, that you'll see inside the magazine. And but yeah, they did push Image and they did push Valiant. And
Well, I know that Wizard magazines worked with a lot of comic book companies, and like Sentinel, he was actually created in a Wizard magazine.
yeah, I remember you telling me that. That's pretty
and
awesome.
The fact that a magazine like that can make such a lasting effect on a comic book story just amazes me.
So we're going to go through this magazine, discuss some of the stuff. Some of the stuff we'll bypass because it's just boring. But Vertigo, you know, I'm not a big DC guy, but you are.
Right.
And but I'd say 90% of the DC comics I have
Comes from Vertigo.
are Vertigo.
Yeah.
They discontinued that since this came out, but now they're getting ready to start it back.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, DC announced that they're getting ready to
trying
open up Vertigo
well,
back.
I tell you what, a lot of DC comic books are going towards more an adult kind of readers anyway.
Yeah, if I turn to something, you want to comment on it? Yeah, but I mean, when you look at the price on this, let's see, this ran $4.99, which was kind of hefty back in 1998. But the information in here is unbelievable. Of course, they tell you what's in
But
there.
how correct is some of the information? That's the thing. A lot of it is speculation.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots, and there's still speculation in the comic book market. But Deadpool by Ed McGuinness. But I remember the Spawn movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, he was hot there for a while.
Oh.
I guess some people are still into him. It still blows my mind. This was 1998. People are still making Spawn toys in 2025. But yeah, I remember when that movie came out and never got a sequel. This is advertising more Image stuff. Top Cow was just a part of that. Darkness, and I don't know who that chick is. This is where they're announcing they're going to start Toy Fair magazine, and but there was a lot of toy stuff in here.
A whole lot of toy stuff.
Yeah,
Which is good for me. I love comic books. I love geeky stuff, but I'm all about merch.
and so comic book stores would advertise inside Wizard magazine, and where you could go online and order, or you could ask for a catalog.
In our last Fangora, when we did the Fangora magazine, I actually
We did Starlog.
or Starlog.
Yeah.
I actually looked up to see if any of those businesses and phone numbers were still in service.
Yeah.
I didn't do it with this one.
But they had like cool little surveys they would do. This one was, should Marvel produce its own titles or hire other companies to do it instead? 69% said they should, 31% said they didn't. A lot of people don't know this, but DC actually printed Marvel Comics when Marvel Comics first come out. They did the printing for Marvel. And what they did was they limited the amount of comics Marvel could put out in a month. And so that was part of the deal. So Marvel eventually went to printing their own. That way they could have as many titles as DC. But that was way back in the day.
Okay, so before you move
Yes,
on,
yeah.
this auction universe,
Yes.
I got curious about it. I was like, oh, cool. Wonder if that's still a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
This business was only in business for a year,
Yeah.
and then it got bought out by a company and became Amazon.
Oh, seriously?
Yep. So originally Amazon was Auction Universe.
Still got the big A logo.
Yep.
And now you know.
The rest of the story. Boy, you had to be older to know what that phrase
Now,
comes from.
I always like this part of Wizard magazine. So there's some incredible artists out there, and a lot of people would send in envelopes into Wizard.
Right, with their letters.
Right, and so they would decorate the envelopes, and then if they liked it, they would post it online. But it was all, I always like looking at fan art. You know, this kind of stuff eventually melded into what we call Pinterest now, where you
Right.
go on and you get to see people's fan art. Yeah,
this
fan
was,
art.
This was probably like one of the original ways to show fan art.
Yeah, Wildcats, Divine Right. They're advertising G13. All those Image titles. I mean, look. I mean, Image paid for all this. You know, it's hard to know what they paid
But
for.
I mean, if you're gonna advertise, this was the best place.
Oh, this
to
was the
advertise.
place to do it, yeah. And I mean, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I like that. I like
Yeah.
the comic. Of course, Alan Moore wrote it, so why wouldn't you like it? And I actually like the movie, where a lot of people poo-poo on it. Crimson, I was real big into that. It was about a kid uh, who was a vampire. Herberto Ramos did the art in it. He's still out there drawing, and
Yeah.
I love his artwork.
I loved Danger Girl.
Did you?
I don't know if it was just because I was a horny teenage boy when it came out,
That's probably.
but I ended up getting like all the action figures. I
Yeah.
ended up getting like I got probably the first 50 or 60 issues, and then it kind of fizzled out.
Yeah. Did you ever get into Battle Chasers, which is like a
No.
fantasy? Joe Madureira, he became famous on the X-Men, but I loved his art style. I loved his art style. He went on to start doing games, designs for games like Darksiders and Darksiders 2, and so he segued his art from comic books over to the gaming universe, where he does stuff like that. So let's see.
That's Witchblade.
Yes.
So all these were kind of tied together. You had Witchblade, then he was the darkness or
yeah,
whatever that
yeah,
other,
yeah.
and then this was like a kind of female Aquaman kind of person from there.
Yeah.
It was
I mean, this was when Image was in their heyday.
right.
You had they talk about new writers that would come out. They talk about every little, like you said earlier, speculation on everything. Where your favorite artists were, what they were writing, where they were drawing at. There was announced there was going to be new X-Men comics, so they speculated on who was going to be in the new X-Men
Right.
team. So, but I
I mean,
mean,
this is no different than a lot of the YouTube channels that constantly put out videos daily.
yes,
A lot of their videos is just them doing the hearsay, the
it's
speculation.
just speculation, and a lot of them is clickbait, and we'll probably talk about that in the next Geek Speak. But you know, a lot of them get on there and flat out almost tell lies,
Right.
and you know, they'll say, well, my sources tell me that such and such. You know, like I met a drunk guy at a flea market, and he only spoke English a little bit because he was Mexican, and he told me this. Well,
There were gonna be unicorns
right,
coming out of
right,
Dick
yeah,
Grayson's
right.
buttocks.
And so, but you know what? It works for him. So, hey, more power to him. Do you know how many people? Well, I'm getting off subject. Do you know how many people get paid by YouTube to make content?
Oh, quite a few, I guess.
No, 2%.
Oh, really?
98% of people doesn't get paid. You know how many people make enough money on YouTube to make a living?
2.
Nope.
I don't know.
0.25%.
Uh,
Actually, a little less. It's like 0.23. But anyway, all right. Back to the Wizard magazine. Sagas, which was I'm a big fan of Ireland because that's where people originally come from. Rob and I. And but there was a Irish comic based in ancient Ireland, and it was come out by Lyre Comics, real independent. It was called More Than Mortal. And I love those things. I hated that they stopped making them.
I think
They even
it's-
come out with an action figure of her.
cool.
And
I'm sorry, I'm jumping over
no,
here.
no, you're good.
I'm listening to you, but I'm
for
also
it.
looking at this at the same time. A lot of people are into anime now.
Yeah,
I mean, so much that there's, Crunchyroll and
Yeah,
places like that. And they have a tendency to forget that, anime's been around forever and a freaking day.
Yeah.
And some of the things that they are watching is stuff that, we knew way back in the day.
that was another thing. They would always have a Halloween cosplay contest where readers would turn it in. I love that issue because you got to see how creative the readers were in some of the costumes. And that was really before cosplay really kicked off. That's why they did it for Halloween instead of just doing a cosplay thing. People would dress up as their favorite characters for Halloween. Some Frank Miller. Frank Miller actually done some work. Done a Spawn picture. And let's see. I love this section of Wizard Magazine
Where they
too.
would pit
Yes, it was called
characters together. That
Last
normally
Man
wouldn't.
Standing. And so they would put it's titled Comics Battles You Never Thought You'd See.
Right.
And so they would put all the stats in as far as their height and their weight and their reach, where they were from, like a boxing match, and who their greatest nemesis were, and so they put all the information. So between Bane and Sabretooth, who do you think won?
Oh, Sabretooth.
Let's say, yeah, it's his healing factor pushed him over the edge.
Well, that and
Yeah,
I think the article mentioned how his venom pipelines was cut and all this
yeah.
other stuff.
They'll give you some original art as Ron Lim and inked by Palamati, which he's a great writer as well. But yeah, he's doing Pop, that series right now, which is really, really popular. But I always loved that. I always loved Last Man Standing because as a kid, that's what you want. As a kid, you want, hey, wouldn't it be cool if so and so fought so and so, and wonder who would win. And so these are Wizard's top picks of the top 10 sexiest women in comics. We need to do that sometime. Sometime in the future.
I don't think we're that sexy.
No, no, we need to do our top 10 sexiest women
okay.
sometime. So
I thought you
Psylocke,
wanted me to dress like Mystique or something.
Rainmaker, Mystique.
Now, who is Rainmaker?
Oh, let's see. She's in Gene 13. She's one of those Gene 13. I told you they pushed
really
that. They pushed that image stuff back then. Witchblade.
Now,
and-
Witchblade was hot.
Yeah.
Depending on who was illustrating.
Yeah, there's a girl who used to go San Diego Comic Con, and she used to cosplay as Witchblade
I'd
all
like
the
to know
time.
who illustrated these.
Yeah, this was back in '98 when men were men and women were women, and you could get by with something like that, and it should still be that way now. But Storm, and because I mean, 80% of your comics are read by men anyway, so you know. But Tiger, I've always been hot for Tiger, and I don't even like cats, which is odd. She-Hulk,
Take an allergy pill.
Dawn. You know, they tried to go across all the different comic book
Yeah,
creators.
Dawn and kind of Vampirella was pretty much an all-sex kind of comic book anyway. They just sold.
Yes, like Red Sonja. Most
Right.
people read Red Sonja not for the plot. This was the plot of Vampirella.
Right.
Catwoman, Jim Ballant, I think his name was, used to do the art for Catwoman, and man, he can draw. He can draw a woman. He went on to do Tarot, which is an adult, or I guess I should say a mature content comic. But he broke out on his own, got away from there. But he did several issues of Catwoman, and he always drew her very nice. So she won #1 back in 1998. So this right here, they're going to decide who's the greatest hero between Superman, Wolverine, Batman, and Spider-Man. Now, this was 1998, and 2005, these guys are still very popular, especially Batman and Spider-Man.
Right.
Superman, maybe a little less, and maybe Wolverine's lost a little steam over the years. But they're still real popular even today, all these years
Who
later.
do you think would have won?
It's not who would win; it's the popularity.
Oh, well.
And you know, and you know, that's just subjective. Everybody's got an opinion. Like if I was to pick my favorite character out of these four, it'd be Wolverine. And if I'm betting, I know which one you would pick.
Oh, probably Batman.
Yeah, Batman, yeah.
or Wolverine.
Yeah.
There's about 50-50.
So they talk about the origins, the costumes, the motivation, their abilities, their personalities and attitudes, and they picked Spider-Man, which.
I mean, he is a popular character.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's Marvel's flag boy, and the funny thing is, I never really was into Spider-Man.
No, I never was into.
You know, I mean, his comics never really interested me. I think I've got a 2 or 3 Silver Age Spider-Man, and I think I bought those for Craven because I always liked Craven.
That is an unnecessary close-up.
Yes, it is. Yeah. There's a lot of old John Byrne there's got a lot of forehead there, but he doesn't have any lips.
Okay, so
But if you don't have lips, if you can make up for it with
when I
more.
was going through this magazine before,
Yeah.
I missed this somehow.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Maybe the pages were stuck together. But anyway, so John, I always liked his writing, and I liked his art. He did a big stint on Fantastic Four, and I like Fantastic Four, even though you don't.
Right.
And but yeah, he's still out there making comics today. This was back when he had hair and it wasn't gray. And let's see, these cards. Yeah, that was a big deal there for a while. Comic cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I even had Jim Lee's set of X-Men cards. And of course, they're advertising some sketch cards now. But cards aren't a big deal not trading cards, not comic trading cards. They were really popular there for a while.
Right. Oh no, I've still got
Do you?
a folder full of X-Men cards. Don't know what I'll do with them. Don't know if they're worth anything, but I still have them.
Then we get into the previews where they're talking about upcoming comics, and that was a big deal too. You got to get an idea of what the publishing companies was going to do, what Marvel, DC, and Image was going to do before they did it. That way you can start saving your pennies. And so they would give hype for all the companies, and they were pretty good about not focusing on just one company at all. You know, they give everybody love. So you got Flash, Fantastic Four, what's going on in Green Lantern. These are the most popular comics at the time. Incredible Hulk, Iron Man.
That just pretty much stayed the same. I don't think Preacher's a thing anymore.
Preacher Nod finally ended. I'm a big fan of Garth Ennis, but I never really liked his Preacher run.
I never read it.
Well, he's anti. I don't know what happened to him when he was in Catholic school when he was younger. I don't know, but he's very anti-religious, and so pretty much anytime religion is brought up, he poo-poos on it. Garth does, even though I like Garth. Yeah, he's got some issues there. Now, Garth also did Hitman, and I'm a huge Hitman fan. By Tommy Monahan, it was awesome. And let's see, what else we got here? Advertisements for things that you never heard of and never will. Image trying to get into a collectible card game.
I heard they were going to work on maybe trying to bring Savage Dragon back to popularity.
Oh yeah, well he's been around forever. Eric Larson. I think he's on like issue nearly 300, if not farther than that. Thunderbolts was just getting kicked off. Nobody had ever heard of Thunderbolts. Of course, we've got a movie since then. Of course, the movie doesn't have any of the original Thunderbolts in it. Just pretty much like the Guardians of the Galaxy movie that was real popular. Didn't have any of the original Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. And Transmetropolitan was going strong. That's classic. Still today. Wolverine, you was a big Wolverine fan there for a while. Talks about his stuff, and all the X-Men books was really, really hot at the time. Really, really hot. Wizard World advertising a Comic-Con, and some of the guys that were going to be there are still around today. Some of them, unfortunately, are gone. Wizard also would have a half magazine, so you had like Spider-Man one half. Did you ever order any of these?
No.
So you sit there and send your money in, and it would be like typically like a prequel to the #1 comic. But this one's called Spider-Man Half. I ran into a friend of mine the other day. He said he asked what we was going to be talking about next on Two Geeks or on Geek Speak. And I told him we were going to be talking about Wizard, and he said that he had every one of those. Every one of the half magazines, yeah, he'd order.
So how much did you wonder how much you had to send in to get that one comic?
It's probably on here. $3 with their certificate. Yeah, that's about the going price of a comic back in the day. So this was another article that had casting call.
Now, I kind of liked these back in the day.
Yeah, I did too.
Where they would try to figure out who would best play the parts of the comic books.
Yes.
And Ben's, we've had a Deadpool movie since then to see who they chose versus who we ended up with.
Yeah, and I mean, they wanted Henry Rollins as Deadpool. And the funny thing is, I mean, this was years before Deadpool come out.
Right.
And so it's interesting to see, what characters did they keep? Obviously, you're going to have Deadpool in a Deadpool movie, but they did have Blind Alfred in there. Mm-hmm. I don't think they had Weasel, Patch, her, or Dr. Kilbrew, which was probably big, strong characters in the comic back in '98. But I like the Deadpool movie. I like the first one, second one, and so Typhoid Mary, she's a big Daredevil character, but anyway, yeah, I always liked the casting call.
And see, I think it's cool that they had chosen wrestlers who weren't really actors back then. Now,
just because they had the look.
Right, because they had the look.
And if you're playing T-Ray, you probably don't have to do much other than grunt. So, So this is when Nicolas Cage really wanted to play Superman.
Right.
And he was actually considered to play Superman.
And we're talking really wanted to play it.
Yes, and they actually put him in a Superman suit. He had long mullet in the back, and there were actually some photographs online where he did some test
Did you
screening.
see how the suit was kind of metallic back in the day?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, but he's he's a huge Superman fan. If you look on our comic book stories video, we talk about how he had his #1 appearance of Superman stolen and how he got it back. It's a good story. But what was cool is at the end of The Flash, I think it was The Flash. Yeah, it was The Flash, and which I actually liked that movie. And they were going back through and seeing all these alternate realities and stuff. They had one reality where Nicolas Cage was Superman.
Right, right.
And so, they CGI'd
And
young
he just
Nicolas
kind of turned
Cage.
around. There was a giant spider. and
Yes,
everything.
yeah. And that was cool. I liked it. Most people that was watched that would have been like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Nicolas Cage as Superman.
I
but,
heard that Nick Cage got upset about it, though.
Oh, seriously? Surely they had to get his okay for his.
I don't know.
So here they rate the existing Superman movies, and I agree with them 100% here. First Superman movie they give 5, and then the second one 4.5, and the next one 1.5, and the next one 1.
What got me about this article was they were back then they were going to do $100+ million to make the movie.
Which is a lot of money back then.
A whole lot of money. Kevin Smith had actually wrote a script. Great writer, believe it or not.
Yeah, he's not bad.
And they poo-pooed on it.
Yeah.
And kind of altered it. Then they were
Yeah,
gonna
Tim
have-
Burton was going to direct it.
Yeah, well, see, that's what would have sold me. Tim Burton doing a Batman.
Yes.
That was kind of I think a really good luck kind of thing right there. I don't think he would have been able to pull off a suit.
Yeah, he made it very comic booky. I like Tim Burton, but I don't. I'm not so
they were
sure.
going to do Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have
That I
been
would like
interesting
to
to
see.
see if that had been made. It would, if they had made that, I promise you, it would have been better than the new Superman.
You know
movie.
what? Well, see, I haven't seen the new Superman, but you know what? With AI today,
Yeah.
somebody could probably go back and do like a really kick-ass trailer using those characters.
That'd be cool.
They were going to do like the death of Superman kind of storyline.
So Kevin Smith, he was way popular back in the day. He'd come out with the Daredevil comic, and he'd done a run on it, and he's lost a lot of his steam now. And but back in the day, Mallrats and Clerks, and
I mean, he was a good writer, especially when it comes to like everyday
he was
conversations.
just slow. He was just slow. It just it took forever for his stuff to come out, and he kind of lost it a little bit as he got older too. I don't know, he had some issues, but he got them straightened out. There's talking about the Halloween costume party, Mysterio. I guess that's supposed to be Swamp Thing. Yeah, some guy with a ghillie suit that's been spray painted. This is another big thing. Talk to me about it.
I had every one of these. I had cut out, stapled them together, and made a folder
Yeah.
of all the basic training. So every Wizard magazine had this article, this section, and it talked about anything from shading, inking, perspective. Everything was a different topic.
Yeah.
And I collected them and put them together as if it was like an actual book. You couldn't get books back in the day that would tell you how to draw like a comic book artist.
Yeah.
So this was kind of like for your everyday comic geek
Yeah.
that wanted to be an artist. This was like a little thing for me. It was like, oh, this is my section right here.
Yeah, and I mean, and your art's fantastic. I don't know if you can attribute that to basic training, or probably just because you draw 10 times more than I do. But yeah, your art's really, really good. But yeah, it's really neat how they walk you through that as a new artist.
Well, I mean, they break down how they break down the capes, shapes.
I guess now all this would have been replaced by YouTube video. Probably somebody
most
showing you the same
definitely.
thing.
More fan art.
More fan art, drawn boards. So they pick a subject and they have everybody draw on that subject. And it was a redesign of Iron Man. Got the guy that won. That's his winning entry, and just shows some of the other things that the fans had come up with,
Now, see, I'm
which is
wondering,
really cool.
to see this stuff. Like this was before computer graphics.
Yes.
So to get this glow or to get those things, I mean, this was like pencil, marker, paper. I mean, this is the skill these people had, and none of this is like done with a computer or anything, which is amazing sometimes. Like the gradient on that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple more entries. Let's see. Here's an art contest that goes back to what we were just talking about,
Right.
where you can enter in. Then before Toy Fair come out, they had a little section in Wizard called the Toy Chests, and they would talk about new toys coming out.
And sometimes they were really fair about how they critiqued them, and sometimes they weren't. Like they were harsh on this Silent Bob and Jay figures.
Yeah.
I mean, they come down on them hard.
Well, they're almost inaction figures. In other words, they don't have much articulation, and but they're supposed to come out with a bone figure, Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah, but it came with
Flaming
paraphernalia
Carrot.
they didn't think was fair.
Yeah.
If you pushed his, he said things like smoochy boochie and things like that. But then when you push his button,
It didn't say
it
nothing.
didn't say nothing.
No, because he's Silent Bob.
And
But that's kind of cool in a way. That's kind of cool in a way because those
And you
characters.
know what?
And of course, those characters from
I'd love
Clerks.
I'd like to Google that and see how much those figures would be worth today.
Bet you they're not worth much.
Oh,
Kiss figures. I actually saw these exact figures the other day at a pawn shop here in Frankfort, Kentucky.
were they worth much?
No. Of course, the cases were real yellowed. Somebody let sunlight get in on it. And of course, this is the very beginning of McFarlane Toys, which is still
Dude.
going strong.
They were the bomb back then. Not because they were
They were
built. Hell, them things
the way
would
they
fall
were
apart.
designed. Yeah.
But the detail they put into some of these things was astronomical. But you touch it, you just touch it, and like the arm would fall off, the head would
Yes,
fall
no,
off.
they were nice to look at, but you definitely couldn't play with them. And I always liked wish lists too. They would always put the figures that they wish they would make. And here in 2025, you'd be hard pressed to come up with a figure
That hasn't been made.
that hasn't been made. Yeah, you can come up with it. This is some stuff other than.
I looked that up. That is doubled in price.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
but
I'm a
I
big
mean
fan
that's
of
like
Worf.
$100 there, which is a lot.
Statues.
I think it's nice.
I had a friend of mine owned a comic book store here in Frankfurt called Moonlight, Steve, and that's all he collected was the statues. And he had like 100 of them. Some more merchandise, T-shirts,
See, I
cups.
never got into bone.
I never did, never tried it out, but I have heard so many good things about it.
Really?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Russ, I think it was Russ at A Plus the other day, was telling me, somebody was telling me that they give it a shot, and then they were just crazy about it. They were just
And
crazy about it.
hasn't bone been around since
Yeah.
like our father was young?
Yeah, but it's, no, not that long. But it's like it's a fantasy, which I like fantasy, but he's just not very interesting to me. And as far as looking, it looks a little goofy to me. But having said, it all boils down to writing, if it's written well. Video games. Look at all them graphics. Dude. Oh man, we had it made back in '98, didn't we? Oh man, look at that. So you're talking about some of the video games coming out. Look at those graphics. Oh, man, I'm making people jealous.
Right.
Advertising their magazine, Toy Fair.
Now this magazine that was talking about having two different covers. This magazine said it had two different covers.
Now I wish I had the Wizard magazine where Robert sent in into Homemade Heroes. He made me a Cable figure out of a Precious Moments
It was called Baby Cable, yeah.
doll, and so it actually got printed on there. And I don't think you won grand prize, but
I won third prize. I got a #1 Vampirella signed.
Oh, yeah?
A #1 the Max signed.
do you still got them?
Hell yeah! I still
Oh yeah,
got 'em.
cool. I want that issue. I can't remember which one it is.
I can't.
If anybody out there knows where Baby Cable, which Wizard magazine, let me know. I will say thank you, and I will go out and buy it. Some more advertisements talking about a specific character nobody's ever heard of. Some comic called Leave It to Chance. You ever heard of that?
No.
No.
See, when I read that, I was like,
They come out with top 10 heroes and villains, and so we got Witchblade and Wolverine up at the top. Their picks for the comics that you should buy that are getting ready to come out and why you should buy them. More new releases.
Love Transmetropolitan.
I know, it's a great comic. I actually borrowed some of yours, read it. The Wizards would have specials on occasion. 101 facts about the X-Men. It's a shame magazines went away, but I understand. Kids can log on now, and they don't need to
Read.
They don't need to. Well, they can just read online. They can
They
read
don't
online.
do that.
Yeah.
They listen to video.
Let's see. Manga was just starting out. It was starting to grow, and of course, it's only grown and it's super popular now here in the United States. Get your anime picks, your manga picks, and this is back in the day when nobody was really paying attention to anime or manga. Not like they are now. I mean, it's pretty much taken over the market. Back in the day, it was Marvel and DC fighting for number one, and Image coming in after that.
Yeah, I like this. The
Top 10 creators.
And like some of them that are really good now, popular now, is like.
Yes, and just a preview on our next two Geeks Talking, Rob and I are going to talk about our favorite writers, our favorite artists, and our favorite comic book characters. Top 10 comics they're selling at the time. Look what number 1 is. Kiss Psycho Circus. Justice League's always way up there. Darkness, it's gone now. Avengers, not as popular. Battle Chasers is gone. X-Men has had horrible writing for nearly a decade. Thunderbolts, Thunderbolts number 1, that was really popular.
Right.
And
Witchblade
it's
number
gone.
1.
Witchblade, I don't think they make those no more anymore.
I still have a Witchblade
Oh, you do?
action figure.
Yeah. Oh, you still got one?
Yeah.
And you got your top 100, what's selling the best. More
Look
advertisements.
at that face. Look at that baby face there.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane. I bet you he wishes he was still that age.
Yeah. He's done well for himself.
That Beanie Baby.
Beanie Power. Because you know what? There was a thing called Beanie Babies.
Bro.
And you know what replaced Beanie Babies in pop culture?
Everything.
Pop figures.
Yeah.
But one of these days, just like people are like, what are Beanie Babies?
Well, nowadays, I think it's the Labubu doll.
Oh, well, I don't know what that is. So now here's our price guide in the back.
Right?
And they didn't have every comic.
No.
That was the only thing. You had to have multiple Wizard magazines to catch every comic. But they would do so many A's and so many B's, but they wouldn't as thorough as the Overstreet price guide.
Right, which had everything.
Right.
It was like a catalog that would be about.
But they would recommend, good readings, and they would talk about some of the famous firsts. And so
I always wondered that was
That's
a
right.
kick-ass character.
So Batgirl Adventures, Cerebrus, classic comics. Black Cross, never heard of it. Batman, but yeah, this was a big deal back in the day. Looking up and see what your comic is, and I actually went through to look to see, how much they had gone up, and some of them have gone up quite a bit, and some of them have actually gone down.
It's just kind of a gamble anyway. Was it ever popular at the time?
You should buy a comic because you want to read it,
Right?
Not because you think it will be worth something. There's a lot better ways to make money. That was a big issue. Iron Man, I have an alcohol problem. Miss Marvel, they pretty much ruined that character. Kingdom Come, Alex Ross.
Dude, Alex.
Yeah. More Garth Brooks.
Garth
More
Brooks.
Image, not Garth Brooks.
I was about to say.
Garth Ennis. Ugh. Sorry, I'm old. Forgive me. You'll have to too. Sin City. I love Frank Miller. Frank Miller's awesome. Strangers in Paradise. Never read that. And then you get to the bottom, and they talk about different cons. You get to the very end of the magazine, they talk about different Comic Cons that are coming. There's actually one in Kentucky. It's in Louisville. That's where we're from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that's no, it's in June. The one we went, and remember that one that we went to, and it snowed like 3 or 4 feet.
Dude,
We drove out there, and then they canceled it.
you want to tell them about you driving back?
We did that in another video. We won't repeat ourselves. Yeah, the roads were so bad I drove all the way back with the emergency brake on
And didn't even realize it.
I didn't realize it was just dragging the back tires with my front wheel drive.
We were sledding home.
Yeah. And there's questions and answers so you can test yourself on how big of a geek you are.
Oh, I'm surprised you ain't asking.
Best Batman ever.
Here, let's just ask. You know, you gotta ask one. Let's just do this one. What's that one?
Which mutant icon did Jubilee have the pleasure of meeting for the first time while he was nailed to a cross?
Wolverine.
Yeah, you got it. See, you still got it, brother, after all that time. All right, and this right here is an adventure game like Dungeons and Dragons, but with Marvel characters. It's made by TSR, who made Dungeons and Dragons.
All right.
So, hope you enjoyed Wizard. We'll do another magazine sometime in the future, and we'll start a new playlist. Now we've got a couple of them about geeky magazines. But you done?
I'm done.
All right, I think we're done. Thanks for watching.